Guys, this is Tanky here, and welcome to my very first video. Um, um, because this YouTube channel is now getting started, I'm before before we actually get into the video, let me go over some of the plans. I'm firstly only gonna make the first videos are only I'm only gonna cover the relevant tanks, so it's only gonna be tier 10s and tier 8 premiums and collectors. After that, um, I'll hope I'll have enough subscribers to get a press account, and that way I can make a video on anything I want. Because obviously I don't own every tank in the game yet, so I just wanted to say that first. Um, as for my credentials, why you should listen to me, I've been playing this game for 10 years. I have watched a lot of Blitz YouTubers over the years too, obviously. I know a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, and um I'm also playing for a top 8 team currently on the NA server. So with that out of the way, let's actually get into the main video, and for today we're going to be covering the ISU-130. Now the reason why I'm covering this tank today and not a tier 10 is because right now the Black Friday deals are out, and one of the deals is the SU-130 PM for 6,000 gold. Now I've seen a lot of people in the community saying that it's a good deal and you should get it, and even though I agree that the SU-130 PM is a great tank for 6,000 gold, you can pay 500 gold more and get this tank. Now, I've argued with a lot of people, I've had this argument a million times with a lot of people, and there are still a baffling amount that think that the SU-130 PM is better than this tank, and I'm going to be making this video to show that it is not. But first, let's go over the ISU-130 first, and then we're going to be comparing it to its counterparts. So, first, the armor. Now, obviously, it's an ISU. It's not gonna have good armor. Now, one thing you do have to know about this tank is that it is an ISU, which means it says right here in the name, it's based off an IS hull, which is a tier 7 heavy tank. Which means that if you look at the tracks right here, you can angle the tracks and get a lot of bounces. Like usually at this angle, even tier 10 TDs armored tier 10 TDs at this angle, you would be able to pen. Not the case with this tank. Now, obviously, you're going to say, okay, well, the entire tank is paper. This is the pen. So this doesn't matter. Now, that is true. However, you will get oftentimes you will get troll bounces on the tracks and side armor, especially rolling around the corner. You're going to see it in the replays I'm going to be showcasing you. As for the gun mantlet, we're aiming from a 130 millimeter, so obviously it's not going to get bounces. Now the gun mantlet will get some troll bounces, especially against lower caliber guns. That's about it. Other things to note about this tank survivability: it's for a paper damage dealing tank destroyer. It is pretty high hit points. It has 1300 HP, and it's as for the modules, that is one of the downsides of this tank. The fuel tank and driver do like to commit suicide, unfortunately. The fuel tank is also located in a really annoying spot, so you do have to keep in mind with that tank, and especially we'll get into the other feature of this tank later, why it's kind of a double-edged sword. But yeah, that's the armor. Let's actually move to the statistics. Now, I've equipped it how. Oh well, actually, I've equipped it on how I would run it. Now, I'm running it with gun rammer. I would recommend to run calibrated, but the only reason I'm running gun rammer is because this tank has the highest firepower in tier 8 and is probably the most dangerous gun in tier 8. So I'm just running gun rammer for even more DPM. I would recommend not to. Now the only other thing you could change on the equipment is one of these consumable delivery system or high-end consumables. They're both they're both an option on this thing. The reason why I run high-end is because take I want to take as much advantage as possible of my special consumables, but that's the equipment out of the way now. With provisions, you can afford to run protective kit instead of small food, because like I said, this tank's modules aren't that good. Now let's actually get into the stat itself. DPM 3055. That looks. Now you just heard me say highest firepower tier 8, so you're wondering, okay, DPM it's high, but it's not like Yak Tiger 8015 levels of high, and you were right. However, this tank has a very special thing up its sleeve. It is one of 3 tanks in the game that has premium AP that deals more damage and less penetration. This tank has an effective of 3500 DPM. You should treat the premium AP as standard ammo, and standard ammo is premium ammo. When you load into a game, you're gonna be on the premium, and when you can't pen a tank, that's when you switch to standard. So this tank, you should look at this tank as with something that has 3500 DPM and not 3k. Now the penetration, it's actually it's Kali, 232 on the premium AP and 265 on 265 on the standard. So the penetration just does get the job done. 530 damage per shot because of the premium AP that does more damage. It's a 130. Module damage is 180, but you can get this module damage up by a lot. I'll show you in a second. Shell velocity is like pretty standard for this caliber. Aim time, not that good. However, it has a whopping 0.262 dispersion, which is absolutely amazing, and its arm movement dispersion is also really good. It's the only thing that's kind of lacking is the aim time. However, the other points of accuracy are absolutely amazing. When fully aimed in, this tank does not miss. I can tell you, it doesn't miss. Now, one downside with this tank is because it's an ISU, the gun arc. The gun arc is really bad. So whenever you're traversing, it is gonna bloom out the gun, unfortunately. So you do have to keep that in mind. As you can see, yeah, the gun arc isn't that good. Depression at 6 degrees average. Now, the last thing about this tank's gun is it gets tungsten, reticle calibration, and super speed boost. What does that mean? If you run adrenaline and tungsten, you get up to 4,700 DPM. Yep, this tank surpasses the AT-15 in DPM when you're running consumables. And because adrenaline and tungsten both increase your module damage, the module damage goes up by a lot. Now, unfortunately, with Blitzkit, they either module damage consumables don't stack, or Blitzkit doesn't have still needs to implement where it does stack, because both consumables increase module damage. However, you'll see if I activate adrenaline, it doesn't work. But adrenaline does increase module damage. It's noted in the game. So you can probably get the module damage to like 220, which is Yak Panzer 100 levels of module damage, which is absolutely insane. And especially considering the fast reload of this tank is only 9 seconds. As for the maneuverability, it's an ISU. It has ISU mobility, which means pretty good top speed. Bad reverse, engine power is average. It's not that heavy. Terrain resistances and power to weight is, yeah, it's decent. Now the traverse speed, definitely not bad. It's not super slow, and if you know what you're doing, you won't get you don't really have to worry about getting circled that often. Now, If you don't like the mobility for some reason, you can run super speed boost. I would suggest to run adrenaline tungsten for the most amount of firepower you can have, but you can run super speed boost if you want. Um, Reticle calibration, I mean, this, as I already showed you, this tank's accurate enough, but you can run it if you really want to. I already went over the survivability, and as for camera rating, it has really good camera rating, obviously. Um, well, game modes, mad games, it has high octane fuel, which is fun, so you can definitely goof around in mad games. Now, unfortunately, Wargaming decided to ruin it by giving it blood trail, so it's not going to be that interesting gravitizing and uprising. But this isn't really a game mode tank. You will play it in pubs. Uh, now, I wanted to go over one more thing. I wanted to now go over. I already showed everything. I wanted to say one more thing about this tank. When loading tungsten and premium ammo, you get 610 alpha damage with a 9-second reload. Now, if you add adrenaline to that equation, it becomes an 8-second reload. What does that mean? Well, the average tier rate heavy has 1800 hit points, which means that you can full HP clear 95% of tier rates and lower within 16 seconds. Yep, within not even a third of a minute, you can have cleared a full HP tier 8 heavy tank. That's how insane this tank is. Even some tier 7s and tier 8s, some tier 7s and some tier 8 TDs you can clear in 8 seconds. That's how crazy this tank is. If you look at the 8015, the 8015 has 3800 DPM. The thing about the 815 is it has low alpha. Now the low alpha does allow you to permatrack, however, because you're not taking so much damage away in one shot, you don't get that like bonus of being able to clear a tank extremely fast, even though you have high DPM. So that's why this tank is able to roll up to a mil 1, take 930 damage of the mil 1's clip, but in return, full HP clear the mil 1. And you can't do that in an SU-130 PM. Now, let's go to the comparison. As you can see, we're comparing it to the SU-130 PM and the Scorpion G, because these are the closest counterparts to it. Now, there's also the ISU-152, however, that tank, it's not a premium tank, so it doesn't really matter. You can get that thing for free anyway, so you can experiment. You don't have to worry about spending gold on it, so you can experiment whether you like it over that ISU 130 than the 152. However, just basic summary, they're the exact same tank. The only difference is the 130 has significantly better accuracy in DPM and special consumables, whilst the ISU has better penetration and monstrous HE damage. That's literally the only difference. I would still take the 130 over the 152. Now, DPM wise, the ISU 130 has the most, and with premium ammo, it's a lot higher. Now, obviously, the other ones are gonna have a lot better penetration on the premium because they don't have the special shells that this tank has. So, yeah, module damage and damage per shot is the exact same. Shell velocity is a bit better on the other tanks. Like I said, the ISU's one bad thing about the ISU's accuracy is the aim time. Everything else, that's the only. It's not bad, but it's like not as good as others, as you can see. Like the SU-130 PM is amazing aim time. However, not as good in on movement values. Now dispersion, exact same on the 130s. The Scorpion does have slightly better dispersion. As for on move, the ISU-130 has much better on movement dispersion than SU-130 PM. However, the Scorpion does take the cake when it comes to on move turret traversing. So I would say the Scorpion is the most accurate. Depression, SU has 1 more degree than the other two. They both have 6. As for mobility, the ISU-130 is the slowest. Not surprising. Now, as I said, you can run super speed boost on this tank if you want to get that enhanced mobility. I would suggest not to, because this tank's all about firepower. But if you want to, you can. Do keep in mind that these tanks are a lot more mobile. Now, like I said, for survivability, the ISU not only has more hit points, but the ISU, like I said, has troll armor that can get the occasional bounce. But the main thing is that its armor cannot get hate cheat. The SC-130 PM and Scorpion can get hate cheat by anything, and they both don't have spall liner. These two tanks, die a lot quicker than the ISU. So do keep that in mind. As for camera rating, Scorpion is a lot worse. A lot worse. However, SC-130 PM does trump the other two, which is to be expected because you aren't able to play aggressive with these tanks, as with the ISU you can afford to play aggressive. Now I'm gonna be showcasing two replays, and they basically show the two ends of the spectrum on how you can play this tank, which is either really aggressive or how most people would play it, really passive. Now, as for how you should position this tank, where you should go, in this case, okay, they have 3 heavy tanks, a medium tank, and 3 tank destroyers. Now, it is a tier 9 match, however, they only have 2 tier 9s, fortunately. I see already a heavy tank spotter, which means that tells me most likely all of their other heavy tanks and tank destroyers are going to be over there as well. So I said, okay, they only have 1 medium tank. In this case, it would be the best position to play aggressive, quickly clear the medium tanks, and that way we can get behind the enemy and shoot the tank destroyers and heavy tanks from the rear. Now, as you can see, you see the great dispersion there, nice shot into the Chimera, and using this tank's good top speed and DPM, I managed to get another shot. Now, as you can see, like I said about the tracks of this tank, he bounced my tracks, and that's 440 block. Now, 815 is obviously very slow, so I used this tank's mobility to get behind him. And just like that, within 90 seconds of the game started, I'm already at 2000 damage. Now, here we saw Ferdinand here, and I know that I have a lot more DPM than Ferdinand. Tracks me. I hit him for 506. Now I know that Ferdinand has a fast reload, so I tried a little angle my tracks, and as you can see, he bounced them. Another 500, and I'm already at 3000 damage. Now I'm gonna be aiming him on the Conway. I tried to angle my, not my tracks, but kind of my gunmanlet, because I wanted to make it hard for him to hesh me. Unfortunately, he didn't shoot hesh. Now I did obviously clear the KPZ, because this tank's reload is fast enough for me in order to shoot the Conway and clear the KPZ, and then, last but not least, absolutely amazing 750 max roll into the mill. Now, and this tank reloads so fast that with the 50 TP's dog should aim, I actually managed to get the clear. Now, as you can see, 4,366 damage, 1340 blocked. Now, I did get really lucky on the bounces. However, like I said, the tracks on this tank, they do work. And obviously, I was able to bait and kind of angle the tracks a bit. As you can see, 1000 damage off the Ferdinand, 1000 damage off the Emil, 1250 off the Chimera, and I was only engaging each of these tanks only for about what, 15, not like about 10 seconds. It's crazy. that's that's kind of a replay showing how the ISU works when you're playing aggressive. Obviously, not every battle's gonna go like this, but it's just a showcase of how fast this tank racks up damage. Also, another nice thing about this tank is because no one plays it, it has a low ace bar. So 4,000 damage is pretty easy to do, and this tank's already an ace. So that's another reason to get this over the ISU-130 PM. No one plays it. A lot of aces means a lot of credits. We're going to be showcasing the replay where I'm playing in a more traditional way, which is camping, because Wargaming isn't the best at designing maps, and Port Bay is one of their poorly designed maps, so unfortunately I'm not going to be really able to play aggressive on this map. But I know this tank is perfectly capable of being able to snipe and camp, so already using the amazing accuracy this tank features, easy 600 shot into the Chimera. Now, crazy enough, my reload is fast enough that I would have been able to clear the Chimera right there. However, like I said, this tank's gun arc is really bad, so I had to traverse my tank, which bloomed out, and I missed the shot. That was on me. Now, because I'm running consumable delivery system, my tungsten is last for a long, not delivery system, high-end consumables. My tungsten was able to last for a long enough time where I was able to get a shell into the ISU, and as you can see, I angled my track, my tank, and the I6 bounced my tracks. Like I said, the tracks do get a lot more bounce than you'd think, but don't rely on them. This tank's armor isn't reliable, it's just troll. Um, right now I'm just waiting. I'm actually waiting for the T-29 and the ISU to push up so I can get side shots. I see the Chimera. He gets shot by my ISU-130, but he gets cleared. I6 drives over to clear my AMX, but I roll around the corner and get a really low roll, 466 from a 530 Alpha. Doesn't really matter though. RNG can sometimes go both ways. That's just how it is. And now there only have 4 tanks left. I'm at full HP, so okay. I'm like, okay, I just gonna drive over the corner. I'll just clear him. And I'm just gonna drive over because the battle's almost over. I6 got shot by my whole team. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to get a lot of damage from it. But yeah, basically, their team they had no idea what they're doing. And now we're gonna pop on tungsten for the, and well, yep, there you go. That's tungsten module damage for you. I didn't even have adrenaline activated. If you have tungsten and adrenaline activated, you probably get the most module damage into your raid. Obviously I did get lucky there for the Amarak, but hey, that's just another upside with this tank. Having tungsten helps a lot. Now, that's basically it for this video. That's the ISU-130. As you can see, it's an absolute beast at racking up damage. And yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Just get it. Like right now in the Black Friday deals, yeah, sure, you can get the ISU-130 PM naked for 6k. But why would you get the 130 PM for 6k if you can pay 500 gold more and get this beast? At least that's what I would do. That's it for today's video. I hope you guys have learned from it. If you guys want to see which tier 8 premium collector or which tier 10 you guys want to see next, just let me know. And yeah, we'll see you for the next time.